We're almost at the base. I hope our fugitive hasn't bailed.
If ever there was a film franchise perfectly positioned for a modern video game adaptation, it's Fast and Furious. For a medium so often adept at putting us in high-speed pursuits and shoving us through sweeping action sequences, it's almost baffling that in nearly 2 decades this series has never spawned a truly top-notch standalone tie-in. And it still hasn't. Fast and Furious Crossroads is short, shallow, and surprisingly simple, and it's nothing less than a crashing disappointment in virtually every department.
Let's open up the nitrous and take them out.
The Fast and Furious film saga's rise from lo-fi point-break rehash to $6 billion box office brute is the bane of film snobs, but I love it. A high-octane hodgepodge of spy movie madness and telenovela tropes.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
These films may be dumber than a box of hair, but they have oodles of heart, and I am unironically and unequivocally invested in them. I got all the Blu-rays, I got way more of the Hot Wheels than my wife knows about. I assure you, I am all in. I'm telling you this because I need you to know that I'm not punching down here. In fact, I was nearly punching the air when Crossroads was finally confirmed after years of rumours. A Fast and Furious game from the talented team behind Need for Speed Shift and Project Cars, and Vin Diesel is involved.
Anything for a legend like you.
On paper, that's a supremely promising combo. But somehow all that promise resulted in this bland and bafflingly basic game that barely lasts 4 hours, and that's including the cutscenes. Not that I especially wanted to keep playing longer than that.
Rude.
For decades, the US thought it couldn't be touched.
Crossroads pits the Fast family against an ancient group of highway robbers who've since transitioned to international terrorism, the Tata Cool.
Kill them all.
That sounds entirely on brand for a modern Fast and Furious tale, and for the most part it works well enough. The vehicle selection is strong, with many plucked directly from the films, although the ones with harpoon guns and gaming routers bolted to their roofs can look a little goofy. Things don't get off to a particularly promising start though, and with the opening mission dropping you directly into the action without any introduction, the overly manufactured VO here between franchise stalwarts Dom and Letty feels like a jury-rigged solution for Kurt Russell's Mr. Nobody being off the table for a proper intro. It's like walking into a movie 10 minutes late.
Yep, just like Mr. Nobody said. Eyes and ears everywhere.
Crossroads then pivots to a trio of fresh faces, 2 ex-Miami street racers and an off-brand Spanish Liam Hemsworth, but despite their best efforts, Sonequa Martin Green and Asia Kate Dillon's Vienna and Cam aren't very compelling characters. It was a welcome respite when Tyrese Gibson's Roman finally showed up to inject some mild comic relief into proceedings.
Tonight I'm running some huge op. That's insider bad guys speak for operation.
Alas, the game itself is no deeper than the new characters.
Impressive.
We've got company!
These cops are paid off by the Tata.
So they're dirty then.
The handling is clearly tuned for maximum arcade accessibility, and there definitely isn't a shred of simulator about it. Cornering is sticky, and pinballing off walls and obstacles carries little punishment.
Take this!
Ultimately, I found it pretty twitchy and unsatisfying, and it's certainly not assisted by the fact that the only view available is a far too closely cropped chase camera that unhelpfully lurches in and out. Crossroads may look like a Need for Speed style experience spiked with a hefty dose of official Fast and Furious features, but it's really nothing of the sort. There are no open worlds to explore and almost no actual racing to speak of. The single-player campaign is rather a scripted series of completely linear segments of action driving, so to speak. As such, Crossroads has more in common with, say, Spy Hunter than any Need for Speed, or at least those obligatory car missions in old James Bond shooters. That wouldn't have necessarily been a bad thing, but most of the missions lack spark or challenge. The car-on-car combat initially seems to have a pleasant burnout taste to it, but it quickly becomes one note. There's a whiff of Bond to the vehicle gadgets, but I never felt like I was aiming for anything, just clicking through button prompts and QuickTime events. Avoiding an avalanche or fleeing a collapsing mine may sound thrilling, but here you just mash the throttle and bounce your way to a straightforward escape. Dragging what's basically a high-tech wrecking ball across the deck of an aircraft carrier looks like a hoot, but the path is so forgiving and the task is so simple, I didn't really feel like I'd achieved anything.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
There are a pair of chapters towards the end that are more fleshed out. The quarry mission pumps up the amount of environmental hazards, and the last mission pleasingly dials up the scale of the task at hand to proportions even the film franchise might balk at.
Let's ride.
But then it's over. There's really no reason to go back, the missions play the same way every time. Floating icons for smashables and jumps throughout each mission seem to hint at some kind of stuntman-inspired scoring system for encouraging cinematic driving that never materializes. Hit the crates or don't, Crossroads doesn't seem to care. Outside of the brief campaign, there's online multiplayer dubbed Online Ops. These appear to be a 9-player contest between 3 teams of 3, heroes, villains, and cops. However, I can't say how it works because I can't start a match. Anytime I try, I appear to be the only person in the world playing it. It's a problem that so many unlockables are tied to ranking up in Online Ops when I can't actually play them.
Looks like you've got company.
Take them out.
With the petrolhead pedigree of Slightly Mad Studios, I expected far, far better of Fast and Furious Crossroads. There are certainly glimpses of a game that respects the film franchise as much as fans do, with a well-curated vehicle roster, some familiar sequences that riff on some of the most memorable moments from the movies,
Having serious deja vu here, and not in a good way.
and the occasional cheeky wink at the audience.
What'd you think? You were ripping off a truckload of VCRs?
But overall, Fast and Furious Crossroads is a short and superficial relic of a previous generation. For more on the Fast saga, check out the first 18 minutes of Crossroads and the trailer for next year's Fast 9. For everything else, stick with IGN.